question formation in Italiano. How do you formulate a question in Italian? We are dealing with the writing, not with oral. Question formation in Italiano. How do we write a question in Italiano? We're not dealing with the oral, with the conversation, because in that case you can rely on different intonation and also different word order. We're looking at the norm. And you know that in Italian, sentence structure and the position of words is rather flexible. But let's go with the basic norms that regulate question formation. Let's start with a very simple statement. Lui fuma. He smokes. This is a statement. For the question, all you have to do is add a question mark. When it comes to the oral, the intonation is different. Lui fuma versus lui fuma. But when it comes to writing, the only difference is going to be the presence of the question mark. Now, let's look at other persons. Tu fumi. It is identical to the statement tu fumi, which is an accusation. Tu fumi, nothing except for the question mark. And so on for all simple statements. They all can be converted into a question by adding simply the question mark. But there is a rule that we need to observe when we use what in English are called the so-called WH questions. What are the WH questions? You all know are questions that begin with WH adverbs, words that begin, adverbs that begin with WH. What are they? Who, what, when, where, and, okay, why, sorry, and we also add how, although it is not strictly WH word. It belongs to the same category. Italian has also another adverb, which is how much. Oh, I will repeat. Who, what, where, when, why, how, and how much. Who in Italian is chi. What, che, cosa, where, dove, when, quando, why, perché, how, come, how much, quanto. Pay attention to quando with a D and quanto with a T. Again, chi, che cosa, dove, quando, perché, come, and quanto. Let's pick dove. The rule applies to all of those adverbs. Dove. Let's have the question. Lui abita a Milano. The question that we want to ask refers to where this person lives. And the question goes this way. Dove abita lui? What happens is that the subject pronoun, lui, and the verb switch place after we introduce the adverb dove. Let's ask now, same statement, we want to know who lives in Milan. Who, chi, abita. Obviously the question now is a Milano. Who lives in Milano? Chi abita a Milano? The important thing that we see is this one. Dove abita lui? Let's take dove. Let's say that we have the statement. Lui abita a Milano. What is the question that we're going to ask? We're going to ask dove abita lui? We change the position, we exchange, we switch the position of lui and abita. When we introduce the adverb dove, then the position of the subject is behind, after the verb. Dove abita lui? You are familiar with lui si chiama Bond, James Bond. What is the question that we can ask? Come? You're familiar with come? And we have the same phenomenon, right? Come si chiama lui? And you know that when you ask a question directly to a person and you want to know what is your name, it is come ti chiami tu. Let's continue with something like con chi? Con chi? Which means with whom? Con chi abiti tu? We see that the question, again, the subject goes after the verb. Con chi abiti tu? You have a bad habit, right? And you smoke. So we want to know why. Perché fumi tu? Why do you smoke? Perché fumi tu? And then we can continue along these lines. So when we have the so-called WH questions, we are going to switch the position of the subject pronoun and the verb. It also works with nouns or names of persons, not simply with pronouns. Luigi abita. I don't have much space, so let's make it New York. Luigi abita a New York. We want to know dove, right? Yes, dove abita Luigi. Again, we have switched the position of the subject, or the verb, and the verb itself. What about your family? Dove abita? And you see that abita is already there, la tua famiglia. Dove abita la tua famiglia? Where does his family live? You start with the statement, la sua famiglia abita, and it will become dove abita la sua famiglia. Okay, so none of this is a surprise. When we have the pronouns io, tu, lui, noi, voi, loro, you know that in Italian they can often be left out, omitted, because we know who the person doing the action is by looking at the ending of the verb. So I can ask a question like, quando cominci? Cominciare means to start, to begin, and we know by the ending that quando cominci means when do you start. Quando cominciate? Who's the subject of this one? It's voi. When are you guys going to start? Quando cominciate voi? And we continue this way. Let's say that you want to know what the price is of, I don't know, a book. Okay. Il libro costa 10 euro. What is the question? Quanto costa il libro? Quanto costa il libro? How about shoes? Le scarpe. Le scarpe costano. Plural, le scarpe costano. Well, you want to know again quanto costano le scarpe. Let's look now at the very common che cosa. If we break it down and analyze it individually, che cosa means which thing. Cosa means thing. So che cosa, which thing. Che cosa mangi? What's mangiare? Oh, you know that. What are you eating? Or what do you eat? Same meaning. Che cosa mangi? You see someone munching and ask, che cosa mangi? Che cosa mangi? Tu. Che cosa mangi? The statement is, tu mangi. The question, che cosa mangi? Now, very often in the north, you will hear cosa mangi. We tend to leave out che. In the south, it's the opposite. you will very often hear che mangi, and in the South we leave out cosa. So here are the alternative, the full question, che cosa, in the North, cosa, in the South, che. They all mean the same thing. Very common question, che cosa fai? Che cosa fai? In the North it would be cosa fai? In the South it would be che fai? So let's ask the question, che cosa fai? What do you do, or what are you doing? Italian covers both meanings. Of what are you doing and che cosa fai, and what do you do? Che cosa fai? Let's imagine that we're asking about someone who's actually doing something. Well, what's the standard answer? Niente. If you're caught red-handed, the answer is niente. Well, let's look at the negative. Io non, which is the negative of a verb, remember. Io non faccio niente. Niente means nothing. Italian has the double negative. I don't do nothing. I don't do nothing. Italian has the double negative. What about I don't know anybody? Io non conosco. How do you say nobody? Anybody? Nobody is nessuno. Sorry, nessuno, I ran out of space. Io non conosco nessuno. Again, double negative. Io non conosco nessuno. And we could continue with this sequence. With niente and nessuno in particular, then there are other formulas, but these are the most important ones. Remember that you have non, verb, and then niente, which means nothing, and nessuno, which means nobody.